This is level 1, chapter 1. We are going to start project 1A, starting page number 41. It is talking about entering formula and see how changing data will reflect on the cells with the formula. So first we are going to open a file, the data file. So go ahead and click on the file button and then open. And then I will scroll down to find my flash drive, and I believe this is on my computer it's E drive. It could be something else such as J drive or F drive on your computer. So you should see your USB drive on the left side. If you don't, you just scroll down and you will see it, and then find Excel 2010 L1 folder, double click on it to go inside, double click, and then Excel 2010 L1C2, C2 stands for chapter 2, so double click on that folder to go inside and look at this breadcrumb navigation here. So we are inside of flash drive and inside of a Excel 2010 L1 and then Excel 2010 L1C2. So inside we have a few folders, and it is the step number 1 is asking for HC reports. So it's in alphabetic order. So I go down, look for HC reports. So I can double click on the folder file name, or just click once and then click on open button. There you go. We have this file open, and the basic idea of this file is that we have a Highland Construction company, and then we have customers, a few customers here, and then we have actual cost or expenses, and then we had a planned, and we'll find out using a formula. I want to find out what will be the difference between what we planned and what we actually cost. So click on cell D3 to make it that the active cell, so you can see the border around the cell. And also looking at the add name box, you will see D3 indicating column D and row number 3. So click on that cell again to make it active cell. So we are going to enter a formula. A formula starts with an equal sign. That's how you tell Excel that you are about to enter a formula. So I can type in C3 minus B3. So here we use this dash key character to indicate is a subtraction. And also notice that I did not use uppercase C nor uppercase B. Even the textbook shows that uppercase C and uppercase B. In formula, entering formula, it does not matter whether you use uppercase or lowercase, because all it is basically saying is that we are referring to column B and row number 3, basically the first one, the actual. And here C3 is indicating that cell over there. So basically we are subtracting the actual amount from the planned. And once you have that, you'll also see color coordinated. So for example, B3, I don't know if you can see it, but it's in green, and also you will see actual cell has a border that is green, and then C3, which is in blue, also the cell is has a border, the blue color border. So once you see that, visually, and also you can logically consider that formula, and then once you determine that's correct, then you can press the enter key to finalize the formula. So if you click back on that D3 cell, you'll see the actual value. That's $3,760. So that's the difference between planned amount and the actual amount. And also click on the cell again, D3, and then click on the formula bar, and you can see again the color coded coordinated B3 indicating this cell and C3 indicating that cell. And so you can kind of see what numbers you are working with or what cells that you are working with. And then to get out of the editing mode, just hit the enter key, then you will see the value. Alright, so there are different ways. So once we set up the formula for cell, we can apply that to the rest of the table here. So in chapter 1 we did quick autofill using the this fill handler, but in this project we are going to learn something slightly different way to fill the formula to the rest of the column here. So to do so, you highlight the entire column excluding the column heading. So again, highlight that much. So basically you include the cell containing the formula, and then look on your top right corner. So on the Home tab, in the far right corner you see familiar button here, that's auto sum, and right below the auto sum, and click on the more option button here, downward option button here, and then you can choose the way you want to do the autofill. In this case, I'm going to use the down autofill because I want to autofill to the rest of the column. So I go ahead and click on the down option, and it fills up the rest of the column as far as I selected it here. And so because I selected the range of cells beforehand, I click on down and it copies the formula. So I want you to look at the formula bar here as I move down, and you will see for example from top is C3 B3 and C4 minus B4 and C5 minus B5 and C6 minus B6. So you kind of see what's going on. And also if you want to make sure, let's say you may wonder how come this is in parentheses. In accounting, in general principle of accounting, which Excel follows, is that if you represent a negative value, the minus number, you can use at least 3 different ways. One is use a parenthesis. So the number in parentheses means it's a negative value. Also you can use minus sign, and also you can use red color. So there are a few different ways of representing negative value. So for example, this Aerostar company actual plan was about $86,900, but in actual it costed it $87,538. So the actual was higher than the planned amount, so we have minus $629. Basically a similar story to Main Street Photo and Sunset Automotive and so on. So here this number is positive, so that means it's good because the actual cost was less than planned, so we have plus positive value. So this is all good, and then we are going to apply some changes. Oftentimes this data, so basically data means somebody entered the value using the 10 keypad or the number keys on the keyboard. So that's basically what data means. And over here on this column, you actually did not type in, for example, 3,760. You did not. Instead, you had a formula set up. So we call this information. So data, and this is information. And information tells us some kind of analysis. What's the analysis of between actual and planned amount? And the analysis says, well, in this case, Seller Corporation, we had a positive value. Okay, so the actual cost was less than planned, so that's good. So that's how you can kind of figure it out based on a bunch of numbers. So these are data, and then you can figure it out what all these data means. So this is good, this is not so good, not so good, not so good, and this is good, and this is very good, and so on. That's how you can analyze data. All right, so we are going to save this file under different name. So I'm going to go to File, Save As, and I'm going to save it as L1C2P1 reports.xlsx. This is called file extension, indicating this is an Excel file, and that is preceded by a dot or a period. So to separate between the file extension and the file name, you put a period. When you save an Excel file from Excel, you do not need to put .xlsx because Excel will automatically attach that for you. So all you need to do is basically just type that much and then go ahead and click on Save. Before you save, I want you to pay attention to the breadcrumb navigation here, so make sure that you are saving in the right place, meaning that Excel 2010 L1 folder, and inside of that it is Excel 2010 L1C2. C2 stands for Chapter 2. So we are working with Chapter 2, so this is the right place. And then go ahead and click on Save. I'm going to just replace it because I already had that file created. All right, and so that's it. And I'm looking at step number 6, and it's asking to apply some changes. So the first item will be changing B4, so column B and row number 4, so that's the cell, and change that to 46,425. And notice that as I change the data, you will see the corresponding the cell using that value will change. So it hasn't happened yet until I click on or press the Enter key. So from $190, it changed to something different value because I changed this source data, because that cell is actually not 190, it was a formula, and formula basically simply gets the value from the cell and then do something with it, in this case subtract with the value from B4. So that's basically what formula means. It doesn't actually have absolute values, but uses of the values from the cells. All right, so the next item would be C6, again column 6, row number 6, and that's the value, and that's the cell. So from 61,222 to change it to 6,000 60,000, and hit the enter key, and notice that that value, the difference got even worse. And then next one, oopsie, I moved down here. So B8, column B, row number 8, and change that to 57,415, and hit the enter key, and that value also got changed. And then lastly B9, so that one, and changed it to 14,115, and hit the enter key, and now that got now it turned into a negative value. So we missed the target for the cost. So now I'm going to flip the page, and step number 7, D3, which is that cell, and we are going to apply some accounting number format. And you may wonder what that is. Basically, you want to put a $sign, just like that cell has a $sign, that has a $sign. But notice the difference between that cell and that cell. Well, visually you see $sign in front of the number, and down here there's no $sign. But notice also what you see in the formula bar. So as I mentioned, the actual content is in the formula bar, no matter what it looks like. For example, this one has $sign, and look at the formula bar. It doesn't have a $sign in it. So that means something, okay? So here they're basically the same thing. There's no $sign in the formula bar. So what's going on? Well, it is basically something called formatting. So this, the actual content of this cell is just a simple formula, but you can apply something on top of it. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and click on this $sign. Is also, you can look in, you can see there's a little blip saying accounting number format. So that's what the textbook is asking for. Apply accounting number format, and then click on this $sign, and you'll notice that it added a $sign, and then also 2 decimal places representing pennies. So in this case, you want to remove the decimal places, because we are talking about tens of thousands of dollars. It's kind of silly to show how many pennies, or like a 10 cents or 20 cents, because that will kind of distract or make this table a little bit harder to read. So eliminate the decimal places. So you can use this increase decimal or decrease decimal. So we are going to decrease the decimal places. So click once and twice, so then it removes the 2 decimal places. If you have a value in it, in the decimal places, it's not actually removing it from the actual content. It is just the way you show it. So for example, let me change the value, the actual value. So instead of 30,349, let me just add, let's say that was a 50 cents, or 55 cents added to it, and see the difference here. So notice that the 3,759, it was at 3,758 before, and I returned to 9. But anyway, that's we'll talk about it a little bit more. But if I increase the decimal places, and you'll see the number comes back. Okay, so we didn't take the actual value away. We just changed the format, the way it is displayed. So let me change it back to note decimal place, and I'm going to just move my pointer between the column heading D and E, and then I had double-headed arrow, click on it, hold it down, and just squeeze, not squeeze, but then slowly move it to the left, and then let go of the button. Another way you can do is you can just move your pointer between the column heading and then double click, and it will minimize the width of the column. Also, we'll talk about that a little bit later. And the last thing would be make sure that you save it at the end of the project. So click on that disk sign or symbol at the top. So that's the easy way to save it.